Super Smash Con 2023 is this weekend, and I'm going to go through basically what is going to be cool about this tournament. If you haven't watched a Smash Con before, or if you're going and you haven't been to a Smash Con before, I'm going to be talking about everything Smash Con right now, mostly focusing on Ultimate and not the other games, but it'll be fun. Subscribe, let's go. Super Smash Con is one of my favorite events every year because of the breadth of things that happen at Smash Con. There's the normal stuff like tournaments, artist alleys, but there's actually an amazing variety of things at SmashCon. There's live music performances that generally aren't really bothering people. They're like kind of in an area where you can hear it, but it's not too loud for the competitors, which is notably important. I know that there have been a lot of tournaments that's not the case, like DreamHacks. I think Evo had an issue with that as well. But there are music performances. There's a bunch of fun other activities. The 64 combo contest comes to mind. That it's always a big show, amazing to watch. I love all the people that show up for the Smash 64 combo contest. It's great with the ratings and the hype combos. There's also a lot of side things that are happening, right? I know Coney's running a couple of things like the platform fighter mystery game tournament, where every round of a tournament is a different platform fighter, and it's just fun like that, right? There's a lot of fan interaction. I know Coney last year did a video. I actually wasn't there last year, but it was the only Smash Con I've ever missed, and I'm not missing this year's. I know I'm pretty sure there's also going to be a live box review where like Hungry Box does the rating of combos, and 24K is a part of that. If you don't know 24K's Twitter, you're missing out. I know there are typically a bunch of panels for like Rivals of Aether or other platform fighters, or just there have been various panels surrounding like either esports teams or fighting games or platform fighters, and it's just very, very fun to watch. And of course, there are 4 major tournaments being five. Ultimate, Smash 4, Brawl, Melee, and 64. They have all the Smash games and all with their doubles counterpart. Overall, there are 4,300 attendees for this tournament, and 2,600 of them are for Smash Ultimate. That entrant number, 2,605 entrants, makes Super Smash Con 2023 the 4th largest Smash tournament ever, for one single event only being overshadowed by Smash Con 2019 and 2 Evo tournaments. That's it. I mean, hell, this is actually one of the largest Brawl tournaments ever, with I think over 200 entrants, so all the games in this franchise are surprisingly live. I know Wii U actually had like a surprising amount of entrants. Yeah, Brawl has 223 entrants and Smash 4 has 344 entrants. That's a pretty good number. I mean, again, the largest Brawl tournament ever was 400 entrants, so Smash 4, even several years past Ultimate coming out, is still reaching pretty large numbers, so that's kind of cool. It's going to be mostly Bayonetta and maybe DeBuzz's Rosalina, but Smash 4, baby. And of course, with 2,600 entrants means that 1, there is a phenomenal level of play that's going to be occurring, and 2, there's going to be a ton of upsets. So let's look at some brackets. So going from top 8 backwards, let's look at the top seeds. You have Spargo, Akola, clearly going to be 1st and 2nd seed because they deserve to be. The 3rd and 4th seed are going to be Sonics, who has of course been doing fantastically recently, and Mia. I think the only very, very notable absence in terms of North American players is MKLeo's not coming to this tournament. He's taking a break from traveling to the USA, so the next tournament he's going to be at is Delfino Reza Mata, so he will not be attending. And there are some Japanese players not attending because they're going to Ultimate Wanted, which is happening the same weekend in France. Otherwise, to round out the top 8 seeds, you have Shootone and Light, Riddles, and Tweak. That makes sense. They're all amazing players. They do very consistently, but let's back out into the top 32 because we can start seeing where some upsets are going to happen. So in the top 16 seeds, we have, of course, Mudace playing Spargo, and of course, Spargo's only beat Mudace once, so this can definitely be an upset. Shootone over Zomba. Zomba beat Shootone the last time they played. DeBuzz versus Mia. DeBuzz has a very good record versus the Game & Watches. It can easily be an upset. Onin over Light. That would also make sense because Onin has a pretty high success rate versus Light as far as I'm aware, or at least Steve does well versus Fox. Big D versus Akola. Akola, I would assume, would win that because the matchup's really bad and their loser's final set at Summit was very bad, but Big D could just win because it's Big D. Karama versus Riddles. That's going to be a back and forth set, although we'll get into Karama in a little bit. Sonics versus Siski. Siski's amazing, but I do think Sonics probably wins that. And then Tweak versus Gact. Gact, of course, amazing. Those could all literally go the other way than what their, projected thing is. So let's back up into a couple of these pools because damn, these pools are juicy. I'm not really going to be going over the losers bracket that much because anything could happen. So much of this could change. So I'm not really going to cover it. I'm just mostly going to be talking about the winner's side. So first off, the Spargo pool. I'm assuming Spargo will beat Lee and probably beat Aaron, but Aaron has been playing incredibly well recently. So I definitely have a feeling that Aaron could beat Send, absolutely, and beat Spark, although Send can win this, and then you never know, man. That's just scary sometimes. Mutis versus Jazo actually went to Game 5 at CEO, so this could go the other way. Ken versus Syrup. Ken is obviously an amazing player from Japan, but Syrup kind of been killing it recently, especially with his Steve main now, so any of these matches can kind of go the other way. I would probably say besides this one, although you never know. Lee is very good, so who knows, right? On to the next one, we have Shutone versus Vendetta, and while I would favor Shutone, Vendetta is a very talented player, could definitely win that. Andres FN and Goblin, I would honestly think that Goblin would win this, and then Goblin versus Shutone would be kind of crazy, or Goblin versus Vendetta. This is very much a Shoto section for some reason. You have Vendetta and Andres FN, although I think Andres FN has been playing more Terry recently, so we'll see. Dom versus Zomba. Again, I would assume that Zomba would win this, but Dom is kind of crazy, top 8 at Wave Dash, so it's not unthinkable that Dom would win that, but I would assume Zomba wins, especially because he's been kind of like the best player in the US recently. Then we have Ouch and Ling. Ling, of course, getting second to Patrick recently. Ouch, one of the strongest players from the Pacific Northwest, but, you know, I don't think there's any peaches in that region, so Ling could win that, although I would assume Ouch would win, and then Ouch could easily beat Zomba. Honestly, Ling could probably beat Zomba too, but this is just going to be a really hot pool, and that's kind of the thing, is like, all of these pools are kind of crazy, especially when you're getting away from the, like, number 1, number 2 seed pools, because then you see, like, oh, like, a lot of these have good chances for upsets, right? You have, DD versus Quandale Dinglingleton in the probably PT versus Steve matchup. DD would win that. I'm assuming Mia would beat Modzai, but DD versus Mia might be pretty close, right? DD's an amazing player. You have DeBuzz versus Soar. Soar could definitely make that upset with his Steve, although DeBuzz does very well versus all the Steves. So DeBuzz, very consistent, would probably win. Then you have Chase and Peebnut. Peebnut's crazy, even though Chase is really good. So this could go either way. All of these could go either way. Like, so many strong players, right? This next one, Light and Shu. Shu has recently beat Riddles twice, can definitely beat Light, although probably a little bit more difficult than it seems because Light has a very good record versus Mars, and there's a lot of Zero Suit experience, but you never know. Zero Suit players play differently. Louis Money and Raflo in the Palu Ditto. I definitely think that Louis Money is better, but that doesn't mean that Raflo isn't amazing and could just win. You know, and Louis Money versus Light, I'm pretty sure that was very close the last time they played. Raflo also can beat Light. Onin versus Anathema. Anathema super strong, but Onin is Onin, right? So I would assume Onin would win. Mars versus Riku. Oh, Mars has the Steve bracket because this is the Riku that I lost to at CEO who got 5th. So Mars, I mean, Zero Suit wins that matchup, so Mars should win. And then Mars versus Onin. Honestly, I would favor Mars, but you never know, right? Onin's really good. And then, of course, if you go farther into the top 32, where was Onin gonna play? Because that might be Mars now. But yeah, so you maybe have another Mars versus Light or Mars versus Louis Money match, which would be kind of hype. Then we have Akola versus Midnight. Midnight just got top 8 at Gommel like last month, so very strong player. Akola will probably win because Akola kind of doesn't lose to people, but you never know, it could happen. Cosmos versus Mr. E, that could go either way. Both these players really strong. Big D versus Larry Lur. Larry Lur's been playing really well recently, especially I can see a Mii Brawler doing well because I know Mii Brawler has a lot of tools to deal with Ice Climbers. And then we have Big D versus Skyjay, Skyjay versus Tarek. Honestly, I would favor Tarek in that matchup, even though Skyjay is ridiculous. So I might have Tarek versus Big D or Tarek versus Larry Lur. Again, so many chances for upsets. Riddles and Geist, honestly, I can definitely see Geist winning that. We have a little bit of a bail corner here. Lima versus Base Mage. Then we have Karama versus Kronos, which actually, if we go farther into here, this is my bracket. So really quickly, because it's relevant, I'll go into my bracket. My round 1 pool, I'm pretty confident versus all of these players. And then I would go into the next round, play Craftus, the Sonic player from New England. And then Kronos, of course, I'm pretty confident versus Snake. This will be 2 out of 3 still, so anything can happen, but I'm confident. And then if I were to win that, it would be here, and I would have to play Kurama. And even though I don't like Mario, for some reason the Mario I'm the most confident versus is Kurama, and then I would maybe play the winner of Jackal and Shattuck. And again, this could go either way. I would prefer to fight Shattuck because I like Pika versus Corrin more than I like Pika versus Wolf, but I've been practicing that a lot, so who knows, maybe in this top, area, instead of Kurama, we would see ESAM. We would see a rematch of ESAM versus Riddles, and then maybe I'll get 3-0'd by Akola. I'd probably get 3-0'd by Akola, but who knows? You never know what's going to happen. But yeah, so this is kind of like a weird little area of the bracket with 2 of the top Bayos here. I really want to see Bloom Forever travel to a US major. Damn. Then we have Sonics versus Icy Mist. Again, Icy Mist very strong, but Sonics has been very good at the Samus matchup recently, but I could see Icy Mist winning. We have Noe, the Pokemon trainer / Olimar player versus Armadillo. Armadillo's been playing really well recently. Armadillo versus Sonics would actually be an insane set. I don't know if they've played offline recently. Siski versus Chunky Kong, and while I would favor Siski because he's really good, Chunky Kong's kind of nasty. Chunky Kong could pull some upsets. Then we have Neo versus Omega. I think think Neo would win that. Omega has been, not playing as well recently, and Neo's been kind of playing amazing. But then Siski versus Neo would be a hot set. And then the final of these round 3 pools, Tweak versus Void, which would always be a hot set. MVD versus Jake, which that would be a tough set for both players. I think Jake has won the most recent category, but MVD says he's been practicing the Steve matchup. But Jake is, of course, a different beast, right? Then we have Gact and Dark Wizzy. And again, Gact is amazing, but with Dark Wizzy's Dark Wizzy, right? He could definitely win that. And then Apollo Kage versus Wrath. I know that Snake versus Sonic has been kind of developing out of Snake's favor, but at the same time, Apollo Kage last year beat Sonic's, so you never know. So we might have Apollo Kage versus Gact, Apollo Kage versus Dark Wizzy, Wrath versus either of these players, and then whoever wins this plays Tweak. That would be a hot set. And yeah, that's kind of just a look at Super Smash Con. There are about, 75 different upset potentials that can happen at this event. It is going to be absolutely insane. Again, one of the biggest Smash tournaments of all time, and that's not to mention the Melee tournaments, the doubles tournaments, all of the different side events that I didn't mention. There are so many things going on. Please, you should watch SmashCon. It's going to be an amazing time. See you all next time, hopefully in top 8. Hopefully, I'll be in top 8 here. You never know. It can happen. Who knows?